advice, and I always say this, give it 2 weeks. You will change so much in the 2 weeks time that you won't even recognize yourself anymore. You're already going to feel no pain in your joints. Your diabetes, your sugar numbers are going to go down, and you're going to say, why didn't I hear about this sooner? Just give it 3 weeks. That's all we ask. And then you'll be back asking, okay, I'm ready for more. Because in that 2 weeks time, when that doctor broke up with me and said, we don't need to talk anymore because you don't need insulin, you don't need my help, that only took 2 weeks. It was free.
That's fantastic.
So, I mean, of course, it's going to vary.
And we are live. Welcome to another episode of the Carnivore Evolution podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have a special guest called Krista. Krista, we had you on the podcast over a year ago. How are you today?
In a while, and I'm doing really well. Happy birthday, America.
Happy 4th of July to you also. So, Krista, I had to write this down because I remember your podcast. We've done a lot of podcasts over the years.
Right.
And your one always stands out. Always. I've always said to people, like, listen, you've got to go back and listen to this podcast. Her name is Krista. And when I look at the views, it's well over 10,000 now at this stage. It's amazing. And so many people have gotten back to me over your podcast and said, like, it was listening to your podcast that got me off the Ozempic route. I was getting ready to go down this, so I had to write this down. So we interviewed Krista over a year ago. So she almost died. She was gaslit. She was gaslit by doctors for years. She was misdiagnosed with everything from PCOS to mental illness. She was prescribed endless amount of medication, including Ozempic, and the rest is history. I would highly recommend that if you were going to be watching this episode, go back and watch the first one. We'll probably link it in with this podcast. But yeah, it's amazing to have you back on, Krista. A lot has happened in that time. So how have you been keeping?
I've been keeping very well. And I don't know. I think we talked about my thyroid cancer maybe in the episode. And I'm going to have my next scan in a couple weeks, because every year you need that cancer scan. So we'll see what's happening. I am part of some groups on Facebook that are people that have survived thyroid cancer.
Really?
And they always call it the good cancer, but there's no such, to me, there's no such thing as.
No, yeah.
I don't think so. You still have to go through the surgery, and then the aftermath is, of course, trying to get your hormones fixed up, because I had half of my thyroid removed. I had a partial thyroidectomy. So there's people who are having reoccurrences of cancer. They're, getting breast cancer, esophageal cancer. There's different things that I'm hearing that people will end up with, like 6 years out since their diagnosis with thyroid cancer. So you would think that, after a cancer diagnosis, that you would shape up your lifestyle, right? The people that are in these groups on Facebook, it just floors me, the things that they promote and they talk about, and all they talk about in these groups are going on GLP-1s.
Oh dear.
That's all they talk about. They think that's the miracle for happens after thyroid cancer. They think this is the next step.
Mm-hmm.
But even being at Kaiser, which is where my primary doctor is, he told me that if you've had thyroid cancer, I do not recommend a GLP-1.
Really?
For those patients.
Yeah.
Because on the box, it says thyroid cancer could be a side effect of this drug. So I never really got an answer for him as to why he believes that. He just told me that I should not take anything like that. I've already been banned from it anyway because of what happened in the past. But it's on my chart. It says do not give this medication to
Oh,
this.
really? Good.
But he does not allow his patients to take it if they've had a thyroidectomy or a partial. So at least he's one of those doctors, the rare ones where they kind of know, like this take. He even suggested to me low carb diet.
Really?
Time
That's
I
unusual. Yeah.
this at Kaiser ever.
Oh, good for you that you got him. Yeah, well, the thyroid is pretty much in charge of carbohydrates, so that makes a whole lot of sense to us who are familiar with that. But even endocrinologists don't necessarily know all that.
Right, they don't.
That's
And
sad. Weird.
since I was here, I had I had my thyroid scan. I told you guys it was negative. I have cancer. We're doing this again. This is funny. It's like a year later. My scan will be in about a couple of weeks, so I'll let you know what they said. But I think I've talked about my carnivore journey, and it's been a little tough because I started it in 2024, right before my cancer diagnosis. So I had already lost some weight. I lose weight pretty quickly when I go on carnivore. I lose like 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And Mark said it was water weight. So, you lose the 10 pounds pretty fast. And because it's so fast, you think, okay, this is water for sure. There's 10 pounds of fat in 2 weeks, right? Well, it's hard to keep it off if you don't continue on with the lifestyle. It's going to come back, and it's going to come back fast, like
Oh, yeah.
week. Yeah. So I was on the carnivore diet for I think 9 months, and then I kind of I don't know what happened. I just decided it wasn't something I wanted to do anymore, and I went back to like the keto thing where I introduced myself back to vegetables and sort of like had some carbs here and there, and then of course I gained all the weight back that I had lost. And not only that, but my symptoms started coming back. My diabetes came back full force. I was in the 260s, the 300s. My blood sugar was getting really high. My A1C was like 10.5.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's pretty high.
Doctor said, what happened? What he was doing really well in what happened in 2025? Like, what's going on? And so I explained to them, I said, look, I went off my carnivore diet and everything just came back. And he says, well, maybe you need to go back to what worked for you before, He didn't say don't do carnivore. He just said what's worked in the past. So I said, okay, I'll do that. It was very hard for me to start it back up again without support. Like I have to have somebody to kind of push me along, or else I'm a former food addict. I was a big time carb addict, and I was a binger. I was a binge eater. So, that was kind of wired into my brain that food is something that makes me happy. Food makes me think about fond memories of being with my family. I think about the holidays. Food was just like the healing thing in my life with bad relationships. I did a story about this recently where I talked about being in an abusive relationship with someone and how we would fix our anger towards each other by going out to dinner. It would always fix everything. So we would go out and have like a buffet dinner or go to like Sizzler or something and have like a big thing of food. And then we would be happy and kind to each other again. So that's how I associate fixing problems was going to dinner or going to have food with someone.
Mm-hmm. Very
And
interesting. Yeah.
that's sort of how I was raised. If my mom and I got in a fight, or, you know, I was kind of in it with my parents, they would say, let's just go out to dinner and talk about it. And we would just have food, and then we would be happy again.
Yeah, I get that.
How
Mhm.
I associated fixing problems was, let's just go out to dinner and let's fix it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like we only had this conversation the other day, Krista, and I firmly believe this, because I work with an awful lot of couples, and I really believe that this is the main issue. This is the main cause, because when couples, I hear a lot from couples, they'll always say, once we get in a fight, we'll always resolve it by going out for a drink or going out for food. I'm like, okay, well, there's the problem right there. You're basing your life around the wrong food. So what we need to do is we need to feed the gut the right food. Because when you go out, yes, you're gonna hit, you're gonna eat that food. It's gonna help with your dopamine levels, but it's not going to last. It's only gonna last pretty much for that night, and then probably the next day you're gonna be
Yeah.
arguing again, or the day after that you're gonna be arguing.
Mhm.
And 9 times out of 10, it always happens. It's like I'm getting messages like 48 hours later saying, "Okay, we resolved it on a Saturday night. We were back to screaming at each other by the Monday."
Mhm.
You
Right.
know what I mean? And it's like, well, hang on a second. There's an issue there.
Yeah.
We need to look at the underlying root cause here. What are you feeding yourself? And when I looked at the diet, it was horrendous. And when I looked at what they were consuming when they went there for a meal, it was horrendous. And I was like, okay, we need to eliminate this. Do you want to save your relationship, or do you want to base your life around eating shit for the rest of your life? And what I did was I worked with these two people separately because they weren't living with each other. They were living two separate lives, but they both loved each other. And I said, right, I'll work with you guys separately for 4 months. Just give me 4 months, about 16 weeks. Within 16, no, it wasn't within 16 weeks. I'd say it was right after 9 weeks. I got these people back together.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
They got back together.
Great.
And now they're still together, and they haven't had one argument in the last. I'm speaking to these people on a regular basis, and this is around 6 months ago. And these people are still living with each other now. They love each other's company. They don't base their life around now alcohol. They've actually given up the alcohol. They don't eat the processed food anymore. They hardly watch TV anymore. And they're actually speaking with each other now. They're not speaking with each other through technology, because they used to always speak with each other through the phone. He'd be in one room, she'd be in another room, and they'd be texting each other through the phone. Madness stuff. But I firmly believe it's down to what we're feeding the gut. It has to be, because it's going to have
Mhm.
an impact on the brain, and it's going to, when you look at what's going on in the world at the moment, everything is just hate. It's everything. Everybody just hates each other. I hear this all the time with couples. I hear this all the time with men. Oh, I can't stand being around my girlfriend. Or I can't stand being around him. Oh, he's a C. Or he's this, he's that.
Mhm.
I don't hear anything like, okay, well, I miss him, or I hate when he's not here. We don't hear that anymore.
Yeah, it's
I
all
think we've
real.
lo- I think we've lost our identity a little bit. When's the last time you see people walking around holding hands and speaking with each other now? I think that's all gone.
I do with my husband, but we're both carnivore.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that, because you're giving your body the nutrition what it needs, so you're gonna be thriving. You're gonna be thinking better. You're not gonna be arguing with each other. I firmly believe there's something in this. I really, really do. I might be going mad, but I just firmly believe there's something in this.
I'm with you. Absolutely agree on that.
Well, my content has changed a little bit. I started doing research on diet foods, like the keto branded items that'll say low carb tortillas.
Hmm.
And then the one I just did yesterday was the diet soda video. There's a lot of things that I didn't know about when you have a leaky gut.
Mm.
Hmm.
Your your mood changes. You become angry, irritable, you're hungry all the time. And if I was hungry all the time, I would be mean too. I would be yelling at my partner or whatever, mom. I would be angry at everything. And I think for me, like, if I'm not feeling healthy, If I don't like what I see in the mirror, I'm going to be mean to everybody. I'm just going
Yeah.
to be every ball of ball of fire, because when I eat, like, let's say I eat a bowl of pasta or something, I'm going to have a food hangover the next day. I'm just going to feel like crap. I'm going to feel like sleeping in bed. I don't want anybody to call or bother me, because I'm having that. First of all, my blood sugar's through the roof when I eat something like that. And when your blood sugar's high, you are not a happy camper at all.
Yep.
You're going to be angry at the world.
100%, because I see this all the time, Krista. Like, a lot of women that come to me are going through menopause. A lot. I'd say about 95% of women that come to see me are going through menopause. And you can clearly see what the problem is. I can clearly see it when I speak to them face to face, because you can see the stress in their face, you can see the emotion in their face, you can see the pain in their face, and you can see that things are not going right at home. And I'm like, okay, well, we have to look at this. We need to address this very, very quickly. It's not just going to be the diet. The diet's going to help, but you need to do other things as well, like your sleep. You don't want to be overtrained, and there's so many other factors we need to look at. But obviously, the nutrition is going to be literally top of the tree. Now, when I say to women, I say, because I hear this all the time, like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, I'm on a low calorie diet. I want to lose weight. I'm not eating any fat whatsoever. I'm restricting myself as much as possible. I'm on these 1200 calorie diets. I'm doing too much cardio. I'm like, this is the reason why you're not feeling good. This is the reason why your other half is getting it at home, because you're not feeling good. And when you're not feeling good, it's going to have an impact on the family. You're going to go home, and everybody in the family is going to hear this. And this is the reason most men don't want to hear it. Because I know if I was in that environment and I was constantly listening to yap, 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 I would want to be away from that as much as possible. Because
Right.
that's what's going to drive you demented. It's going to drive you crazy. Most men would just walk out and say, right, I'm going for a walk. Or most men would say, well, listen, I've had enough of this. I'm going to cheat on her because I can't live with this for the rest of my life. But this is where I'm not saying that women are to blame here. Men are also to blame here. But I'm saying that a lot of women that are going through menopause, we're doing the wrong things here. We're focusing on the wrong problem. You're not giving your body the nutrition it needs. And I think fat is vitally important for women. Vitally important. I think it's more important for women than it is for men.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that personally. Yeah.
I'm a lot of Gen X women's group on Facebook. I love seeing all the old videos and the nostalgia, but they started talking recently about, what do I do when I go into premenopause? What do I do? And everybody's solution is, of course, some patch, estradiol pills, all of these different things. And that scares me. I don't want to go on. I'm only on one medication, and that's Armor for my thyroid, and it's a natural pill. I don't want to go on all these hormones and do all these patches and creams. I just don't want to get into that. I'm trying my hardest not even to go there. I just want to go natural like my grandmother did. I never heard her complain about a thing. And she went through it, obviously, and we never heard one word about it. So, how do we naturally go through menopause without taking a pill or putting on a patch? I mean, is that something, Mark, that you deal with when women are calling you up saying, help me, I don't want to go on these patches, I don't want to do this?
Well, what I do, Krista, is I look at what did our ancestors do? So when you're going through that time of the months, did these people say to their husbands or their boyfriends, run down to the shop and get me a bar of chocolate when I'm going through menopause or those kind of things? I was like, no, they never went through all this. So I'm like, okay, well, we need to look at, the diet. You need to look at what your diet looks like. And I'm hearing all the time, these people are under eating protein, they're not eating enough food. And the biggest factor for me is trying to sell to a woman that you need to eat more food. That's the biggest sell for me. That's where I struggle the most. When someone comes to me who's on a low calorie diet and wants to lose weight, I'm saying to them, okay, well, what I need to do is I need to optimize your hormones
Yeah.
first of all before you lose the weight naturally. And how I'm going to do that is I need you to eat more food. Just trust me on this. I need you to eat more. And they're like, what? I'm coming to
Mhm.
see you. I'm coming to see you to lose weight. How is this possible? How is this possible? I'm like, oh, well, first of all, I'm not the same as anybody else. I'm not the same as these bullshit coaches that you deal with. These people haven't got a bleeding clue how to sort this out. Haven't got a clue. And I always say to these women, you need to prioritize your health first.
Right.
Get your health in order first, and then after that, then we can focus on your long-term goals. The weight will come off very, very easily. But you've got to put your health first because I've had many, many women come to me that want to have babies, Krista.
Yeah.
Babies. And I'm like, well, you're severely undernourished. You're not eating enough food. So you need to add in more food.
Yeah.
And this is how I have a very, very good rate of pregnancies in the last 8 years. I've had over 50 pregnancies on my plan. And all I've done was I've just increased the food, I've increased the volume of the food, I've decreased the amount of training that they're doing, I've gotten rid of all the cardio, and I've actually increased their fats very,
Mm.
very high. So what does that do? That increases the estrogen. Your progesterone goes up. So you're like, what I mean, your cortisol goes down. I'm talking about chronic cortisol here. So that means your stress levels go down. You're not overthinking anymore. You're not putting too much stress in your body. Because when you think about it, when you go on a low calorie diet, that's restriction. When you
Yeah.
do too much training in the gym, that's stress. That's a lot of stress on the body. When you're thinking about food every 2 hours, that's where we get those angry feelings. So
Sure.
that's more stress. So we want to eliminate all that as quick as possible. We want to make sure you're getting good night's sleep by providing your body the fuel it needs. That helps by moving more and not overthinking as much, then you're able to have a good night's sleep. Whereas if you're doing nothing and you're sitting on your phone all day and you're watching TV all day, this is only going to cause metabolic stress. You're going to have those cravings at nighttime. Everything's going to be damaged. And it's like, well, do you not see what the problem here is? You're only focusing on weight loss, but while you're focusing on weight loss, you're putting your health at risk doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we all know there's so many ways we can lose weight. We can go on a low calorie diet. We don't even have to go on to a low calorie diet. Now there's an injection and we can do this. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
everything is just tailored around weight loss. It's not tailored around optimal health. Because if it was, these injections would not be on the market. Because I don't care what anybody else says, these injections will not help you to be healthy. I'm
No.
hearing all this nonsense that's going to reverse type 2 diabetes, it's going to reverse your fatty liver disease. Absolute nonsense. If you're still eating the same crap, then I can tell you right now, this is the reason why when you come off those injections, the weight is going to return, those symptoms are going to return very, very quickly. And this is what happened to you, Krista. You were doing carnivore for a while and then you introduced these foods back in, the weight came back on, these symptoms probably returned. And this is what I'm hearing on a regular basis. Why would you go back to these foods if these foods are causing the problems in the first place?
Because
I'll never understand it.
they don't know. So here's one of the arguments I got into. Facebook is a cesspool of people just arguing about food. And this woman told me there was a doctor that posted, switch your sugary sodas for diet sodas. And I cannot believe a doctor put this out there. And so I said, you obviously don't know anything about gut health. And then the comments just, to me, attacking me. Oh, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
He came back to me and said, I lost 40 pounds switching from sugary sodas to diet soda. And I said, if I told you I lost 20 pounds smoking cigarettes, what would you say? What would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, I know. It's just, and
Was
it's just crazy. It really is. People will believe anything these days.
I said, you know what? Tell me, are you going to be proud of me and put me on a pedestal if I told you I smoked cigarettes and I lost 20 pounds?
Yeah.
But he had a word to say. I said, well, you switching one toxic thing for another toxic thing is not the flex you thought it was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is not. Why are we celebrating this? Why are we celebrating people that are eating, they're trading in this for something that's probably worse in the long run? And everyone's celebrating that person just because of the number on the scale changed.
Yeah, yeah. And why are we normalizing eating shit in moderation? This is what I just don't understand.
Yeah, I
Like,
do not.
why can't we not just say to someone, okay, no, you need to get rid of it. Don't eat
Yeah,
in moderation. It's doing nothing for you. It's not even real food. Just get rid
yeah.
of it.
Well,
It's the same as
It's just,
and
I only mentioned this to Victoria a couple of weeks ago, and I was doing this. I seen this about an hour ago. So I always go on my walk around 5 o'clock, and
yeah,
I always notice this on a Saturday evening. Every Saturday when I go on a local walk in my park, I'm watching the homes, and every single home are ordering pizzas, they're ordering takeaways, and it's like so many homes are doing this on a Saturday night.
yeah,
sure.
And it's just garbage. It's just absolute garbage that you're feeding your body. And like the prices now of eating garbage is going through the roof. I mean, I was looking at a pizza the other day to buy like a 24-inch pizza. You're looking at nearly 40 quid.
yeah, yeah,
40 quid.
yeah,
And it's like that's not even you get the drinks with it, like the chicken tenderloins, and it's like most of this just goes to waste.
yeah. You throw it out and give it to the
You,
dog.
you know what I mean? Whereas when we eat a steak or beef or anything, I can tell you right now, nothing goes to waste. Nothing.
No, not if you're spending that much on a little steak.
No. You know what I mean? And then you hear the nonsense the next day. Oh, I don't feel good. I'm
Yeah,
not in the mood for going to the gym. I'm on these beta blockers from my heart. I
Mhm.
have to take these statins because I'm on high cholesterol. It's like Jesus Christ, guys. Honestly, I mean, it's just it makes me sad because I hear this regularly in my gym in the changing rooms, and I hear these men that are younger than me. They're only in their 40s, and I'm like, I'm listening to these people. And I'm like, all I want to do is just say, just wake up, like literally, just wake up
yeah,
because you are being fed lies. Whoever's giving you this information, they're not helping you at all. And these men are coming into the change rooms, like I mentioned earlier on, and they're doing hours and hours and hours in the gym every single week. Weight training, cardio, they're running themselves into the ground. And you can see it in the face. You can just see it in their face. They just look mentally exhausted. And all you want to do is just say to them, like, listen, just stop. It's just it's so sad that we're actually hurting these people, and we're meant to be
Yeah,
helping them. We're meant to be the experts because I was one of these people. I
right.
worked in I worked in this industry for well over 30 years, and I was a personal trainer. This is the information I used to give people.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a clue about nutrition.
mhm.
All I understood was calories in, calories out. Everything is based on the law of thermodynamics. A calorie is a calorie, and that's it. As if
No,
you're eating 1,200 calories, it doesn't make a difference where that food comes from. As long as you're on 1,200 calories, you will lose weight. This
yeah.
is what I was. This is what I
No,
was taught.
yeah, that's malnutrition is what's going on with those people. It really is. And
Yeah.
it's so unfair and people are so blinkered, including doctors. They don't get it. They don't understand how nutrition works. And they don't want to because they're so entrenched in that
Mm.
earlier training.
Because the wow moment for me was when I came to Carnivore. I've always said this, how it shut off my hunger, how I was able to control my hunger very, very quickly. Because you're talking to someone that used to eat 10 meals a day, between 8 and 10 meals a day easily. And I was every time I finished my first meal, I was constantly thinking about my second meal straight away.
Yeah.
And then after that second meal, I was thinking about my third, the fourth, the fifth. So I was constantly thinking about food throughout the whole day. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be starving. And I'd be like, how is this normal? This cannot be normal. And I was told by coaches it is normal. You've got a fast metabolism. You just need to eat more. But every time I ate more, I was gaining more weight. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, hang on a second. I'm gaining more weight. So what do I do? So I have this beer belly. So what do I do? Okay, you need to go to the gym. You need to do some cardio. But what these people didn't realize was the cardio was actually ramping up my hunger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was making the situation even worse. So because I was training more, my hunger was going up. So
Yeah.
this is the reason why I was able to eat more food. So it didn't make any sense. It made
And
no sense whatsoever.
what's going on with your musculature when you're on that cycle? What happens to you, the muscles that you're working so hard to build up?
Exactly, you're losing it all.
You're
So
losing
when you do too much cardio, you're burning your main furnace, which is your muscle. You want to be holding on to muscle
it.
because this is what we're all striving for. We're all striving for that fountain of youth look. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to happen unless you start building muscle because if you want to look incredible, which we all do, focus on your body composition, not just weight.
Well,
Because we all know we can lose weight on a scales, but you're also losing muscle. And when you go on a GLP-1 injection,
Yeah.
yes, you are losing weight, but you are losing a shitload of muscle as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
really. Krista's got that down now. She looks absolutely gorgeous, just stunning. Yes,
Thank
for your age.
you know, when I'm at work, I work in the public, and people think I'm 30, and I'm going, no,
Yep.
I said,
Mhm.
well, in my 30s, I wasted my entire decade of my 30s because I was sick,
Yeah.
very,
Ah,
and that's when I first found I had Hashimoto's. That's when I found out this and that and this and that was all
mhm.
stacking up. And I found out about an endocrinologist who turned into a naturopath doctor.
Really?
Very mean to me.
Oh, uh-oh.
She was very mean to me. Her tactic with her patients was to make them fear eating bad food. Like
Yeah.
she said, you're going to be a very saggy looking old woman by the age of 40 if you don't listen to me.
Mm-hmm. What did she say? What was she telling you?
So she put me on the AIP diet, which is the autoimmune protocol
Yeah.
for Hashimoto's. It is an anti-inflammatory diet where you get rid of
Mhm.
they call them like nightshades. So you don't eat broccoli, you don't eat tomatoes. There's certain vegetables you can't have. And she required strict organic vegetables and a lot of protein. So it was basically keto, but with certain restrictions as far as like the vegetables were concerned. There
Mhm.
are vegetables on her list that she said would cause like very inflammation.
Mhm.
And
Well,
from
what
thinking of,
about fat? Sorry.
I didn't hear you.
What about fat? What did she say? Did she want you to be low fat and polyunsaturated? What
Yes,
did she say?
it was loaf. It was chicken,
Mhm.
mostly chicken. I'll tell you that. There wasn't a whole lot of low fat meat available except for turkey and chicken. So
So it was low fat. Oh.
yeah. So she didn't really, she said I could have red meat a couple times a week. But here's the problem there. I was going from a binge eater to all of a sudden on AIP. I did not make that transition. I did it maybe 2 days and I just couldn't do it because I didn't understand it. I was going through like that, they call it a keto flu where you get the headache.
Mm.
She never explained that was going to happen. Like I didn't know I was detoxing. I don't know why I felt so bad. I didn't really lose any weight until she put me on the right thyroid medication. She took me off of levothyroxine and put me on Armour, which it was like a world of difference for me because it was going from a chemical hormone replacement to a natural,
Natural. Yeah, I thought it was a natural one. Yeah.
and it's made with pig thyroid. So it really
Mhm.
made a difference, just that. But I couldn't stick to her AIP diet. For some reason, it just didn't make sense to me.
Hmm.
And she didn't really focus on the diet as much as she did the supplements that she was selling.
Mhm.
She sold
Yeah.
me very expensive supplements. They were, like 30-day bottles of ashwagandha. It was like there was at least 10 different supplements I purchased that day, and I spent hundreds of dollars.
Oh my gosh.
So that's how she made her money, was through the supplement.
Like they all do.
Help?
I'm sorry?
Did you take them and did they do any good?
I can't even, I don't know. I took them, but I think it's the diet I didn't understand. I didn't understand what was happening. It wasn't presented to me in a way that was friendly. Like I said, she was a mean lady. So I didn't understand. So I would sort of like have a lot of cheat days and then eat, like she said, like maybe a couple days a week, took all the supplements, nothing happened. Nothing happened. My face was so big. I don't know if you saw the pictures, Mark, when I had the big round face. That was when I was in my 30s and I felt like I was 80 years old. It was awful. It wasn't until I met another naturopath. So I ditched this lady because I just couldn't afford to see her. And I went with it was an Eastern medicine, Western medicine naturopath. And he also had me on a lot of supplements, but she talked about protein and had me eating avocados. And this is her particular protocol, was a lot of fatty nuts, like walnuts and things use. And I lost tons of weight doing her protocol. But she also had me doing a liquid shake once a day to replace a meal. So although I lost a lot of weight doing that, it also was not sustainable. I cannot do liquid meals. It just does not satisfy me whatsoever.
It sounds like a calorie deficit too when you do that.
Yeah. It was a protein shake made of peas. And so it was chocolate flavored. And it just didn't do anything for me. I was still hungry after I drank it.
Well,
Think about food all day.
It's not well absorbed by the body. The protein just kind of goes away. It doesn't get, it's not bioavailable, as the term goes. Yeah.
Now I understand she was a very caring, very loving doctor, and she did help me quite a bit. I have not gained the weight back since she me. I was up to 245 pounds, and now I'm about 190. So I mean, I'm back and forth from 200 to 190 sometimes.
That's 50 pounds. It's a lot. Yeah.
So, I really do appreciate everything that she did for me. She really told me the importance of inflammation and like foods that would cause it and things like that. So I learned a lot from her, but I think her big takeaway was do not eat anything with gluten in it, because that's the biggest inflammatory thing you can have with someone with Hashimoto's, especially. Me getting rid of gluten, I think that was the really big thing for me, that got me to the weight that I wanted to be. And I was actually motivated because I was getting married at the time. So of course I had that in my mind, that motivating, like, I'm going to get married. I have to look good in my wedding dress. And, when you don't have an event coming up or anything to really kind of motivate you towards a goal, it's harder because, so I think that the combination of like the event and her motivational, she would call me, ask me how I was doing. She was great, but I wonder how she is now. This has been 10 years. I wonder what she would suggest these days. I'm kind of curious to get a hold of her and see what she's helping with now. She thinks of Carnivore. You never know. People change.
How did you get to Carnivore from the anti-inflammatory naturopath?
Thanks to Instagram.
Yes.
I didn't even know about Carnivore until Jordan Peterson I had found out about it through YouTube at first, and then I wanted to see people that were actually on.
Mm. She gone?
Oh dear, we lost her.
She's back in a few minutes. She's back in a few minutes. Yeah, so she'll start speaking about it shortly, and I'm actually gonna speak to her about. I actually reached out to her a couple of months ago. It was actually a couple of weeks ago. Um, and I asked her I'd be interested in working with you as well and helping you on your journey because she was really struggling at this stage. And I said, right, well, let's see what we can do in the next couple of weeks. And she's been putting up a lot of content on our stories. The weight's been coming off. Our blood sugars are a lot more stable now. She's a lot more happier now. You can see the weight is coming off her. And she's in a good place at the moment. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
before she was really struggling. And I was telling her, like, listen, there's nothing you can do about all this external noise that's going on in your life at the moment. But the one thing you can focus on is your health. Is she coming back on now? There she is.
Yes.
I
Yeah, so
nope.
you were talking about so if you came onto Instagram, this is how you came to the carnivore space.
Yes.
I was just speaking to Victoria. This is how myself and yourself got in contact because I actually reached out to you a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
When you were really struggling, and I was like, okay, well, I need to help this woman because I've actually interviewed you in the past, and I was like, oh, I know I can help you. But before we speak about that, yeah, talk to us about okay, so you came onto Instagram, you saw all these amazing people doing carnivore. What
Yeah.
next?
Yeah. So I came onto Instagram. I started following all the big people like Sean Baker and people who talk about carnivore. And I thought, I've seen so many stories that I want to give this a try. So I started following not the big hitters. I started following like real people that weren't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
making monetizing their, Instagram channel, just like the little people, and these people, their transformations were just incredible. And I thought, wow, this is what I need. I need something to really transform me and kick my butt. I used to be a very thin model, okay? Like when I was younger, I weighed 130 pounds. I'm 5'9". I've
Wow.
been thin. And when I took birth control pills, I gained 100 pounds. When
Wow. Yeah, that'll do it.
in my 20s, I,
Did that to me too, yeah.
I ruined my body in my 20s. I have never been able to be 130 pounds until I took ephedra, which that's a whole different podcast.
Oh, remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I took ephedra and I got back to 130 pounds. Actually, I was 125 pounds at 5'9". I was so thin, you guys. But, you know, it got me some modeling jobs. Let's just put it that way. But, I've never really been this big person. So I didn't understand, like, why am I like this? What is going on? So when I saw people's transformations on Carnivore, not only did they look good, but they were feeling amazing and they were just so happy and their skin was just glowing. And I thought, okay, I want to try this for sure. And I gave it a go and I stuck with it for, like I said, 9 months. That's pretty good going cold turkey and just doing it. And I did see a big difference. But like I said, sometimes I go through things, stress, or like a big event happens where I'm kind of thrown off and I will just lose my mind and just go back to what I was before because that's like a comfort zone. It scares me to think about it. Like I don't want to go back. I just want to go forward. And so in order to do that, I need a little help. So Mark came at the right time because my diabetes was out of control. I was up, like I said, in the 300s with my blood sugar, and I was on insulin, and it was still going up there to the 300 zone. And I was eating nothing crazy, guys. It wasn't anything where people would be like, "Oh my God, I wasn't eating fast food. I wasn't having pizza." I was just eating a lot of things that like you would think were healthy, like wheat products. People think that's healthy, but it's not. I mean, too many carbs. I was eating just a lot of carbs. Let's just put it that way. And when Mark messaged me and said, I want to work with you, let's just do this, I was like, okay, let's do it. I'm ready to get back on the train again. And so here we are, like a month later, and I'm off of my diet. I'm off the insulin.
Good, good.
So I was actually, Kaiser had set me up with a diabetic, kind of like a coach. And she said to me, okay, let's go on insulin, 2 different types of insulin, long acting and short acting, because she could see on my my monitor, because I wear the Libre 3 Plus, she was seeing that after my dinner that I was spiking the highest, because dinner was probably like my biggest meal. So she said, I want you to take short acting insulin right before your dinner. So I was taking 2 separate medications during the day. And I had to bring, the syringe, the vial to eat. If I was going out to eat, I have to bring it with me, and I have to go, excuse me, I have to go give my insulin. And so it was annoying me to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this. I hate it. And, within 2 weeks of starting Mark's protocol of Carnivore, I literally was dumped by the diabetic coach. She said, you know what? She said, you're doing really great. Let's take you off the insulin and see how you do. She called me about a couple weeks later, and she's like, Krista, what's going on over there? What are you doing? Because you don't even need insulin. You don't need to do anything. She's like, in fact, I don't even want to have another call with you because there's no use.
She didn't ask what you were doing?
She did. No, she did. She asked.
And then you told her, what was her reaction to Carnivore?
She said, keep doing whatever it is. She said, and I couldn't believe what she said next. She said, you're the only patient of mine that has done this.
Wow.
Only
wow.
that has transformed my blood sugar into normal within 2 weeks.
Oh, for gosh sakes.
2
That's
weeks.
wonderful, but still, she didn't get a clue as to the mechanism behind that. Would be an enlightenment. Yeah.
I think a lot of these practitioners know the truth. They're not supposed to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Unethical.
My doctor's a very fit guy, and he's pretty healthy, and he kind of like nods, like he knows that this works and that he's probably doing it himself. He just won't tell you.
Oh my gosh, that's so evil. That's almost frightening, because it's so unnecessary to be the other way. It's so unnecessary to be on those medications. And
Right.
God knows what they're doing to you long term down the road. And you already have one hormone issue, the thyroid, going on. And it's just so unfair, and it's cruel. I want to say attempted murder, but that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah.
And tell me this much, Chris, because when I met you over a month ago, we won't speak about your what you were going through, but you weren't. It's safe to say you were going through an awful lot at that time. Where are we at the moment? What other positives have you seen? Have you seen that eating this way has improved your life? You feel better. You have more energy. Like, what other positives have you noticed?
I don't fall asleep on the couch anymore.
Brilliant.
Good.
Honk out on the couch watching television. That anymore. I stay up, and I'm able to keep my eyes open, which is huge because I don't like to miss out on anything. I like to be awake and living in the moment and going outside, and I'm able to take longer walks. Here's the big thing. Oh my God, I forgot to mention this. So I was diagnosed with bone spurs in my feet. So that is caused basically standing on your feet for a long period of time, which I do at my job. I work in retail. So I'm on my feet 6 hours, several days in the week. And from the inflammation from the foods I was eating and the weight I had on my feet, I developed bone spurs. So that's when bone starts growing to sort of compensate, to give you, like, I don't know. It's a really evil thing that happens. They look like devil horns growing out of your feet. It's really weird. Look it up because it's awful. And so when I got the x-rays back of the bone spurs, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought, that's in my foot. It looks like a spike coming out of your foot. And so it was very, very painful. It's like walking on knives. And so I had to actually scale back on work. I am losing money right now because I have this injury in both feet. And I actually had Achilles tendonitis on top of that. And so right when I talked to Mark, I think I explained to him that, I'm going through it right now. I'm losing money. I'm injured. Won't let me go back to work because I'm injured. They don't want to take any fault at, they'll have to pay me for this. For
Liability, yeah.
The liability. So I'm basically at work sitting in a chair in a back room, folding clothes and hanging things up. And so that's all I do. And they only give me probably 12 hours a week to work.
Oh, dear.
And so I am seeing a physical therapist, and it's been, they have me doing like foot exercise. But I will tell you that now I feel barely any pain. It is like a world of difference because the inflammation is like gone. And the physical therapist even noticed, she said, your foot was red and swollen. Now it's just like normal color. I don't see the bone spur poking out. It pokes out the back of your heel. And she doesn't see anything going on back there anymore. So as I started this lifestyle over again, my feet have just changed so much, and I can actually walk around and I don't feel the pain. Unless I walk for like 2 miles or so, then I start feeling it again. But I believe that it's the inflammation that was causing the whole thing.
And when you mentioned earlier, Krista, about okay, well, how can I keep this going now? Yeah. I'm doing it now. How can I keep it going? You've just said it. No more pain. You know what I mean? No more struggles. That's your reason why. It's not the weight loss. Your reason why is the pain, going through all these emotions. You need to, every time you have a thought in your head, because I said this to you before, when you have that thought in your head that I'm going to go back to these foods, you have to go back to that reason why.
Yes.
And really talk to yourself. Have a look at yourself in the mirror and say, well, hang on a second. Before I make this decision, is it the right decision? Because you have to understand what's going to come out of it. That's why I've never, ever went back to these foods ever again, because I know how powerful these foods are on my body. I've experimented with these foods in the past, and I'm like, no, that's a box tick. There's no way in hell am I going back and adding these foods back in. And if I am going to add them back in, sorry for interrupting. If I am going to add them back in, it's just because I'm addicted to these foods. That's the only reason. There's no other reason.
The pain is not worth it. It's so painful. No. Imagine you have to go to work and you wake up and your feet are pounding. You feel this like sharp pain in your heels, and you have to go to work and stand on your feet for 6 hours. What are you going to do when you wake up in the morning and you can't walk? You're going to call in. You're going to say, look, I can't come in. I can barely walk today. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take some Tylenol or whatever, and I might be able to come in, but I can't even get out of bed. And that's happened where I was like, okay, this is it. I called HR. I said, there's something wrong with my feet. I can't even walk. It affects my job. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who deal with chronic pain like this, they can't work.
And see, what's the point? And what's the point in losing the weight if the pain is still there? You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you've lost all this weight. Okay, that's amazing. But if you still have these problems in the background, well, then what's the weight loss going to do? Absolutely nothing.
No.
So this is the whole point of having this podcast, is that we all know we can lose weight on we can lose weight on anything. We can go on a low calorie diet. We can go on the GLP-1 injection. There's many ways we can go. We can do Weight Watchers. There's so many ways we can lose weight, but is it optimal long term? And is it going to be potentially harmful to your health as you get older?
Well, both of those.
100% yes, because you're going to be undernourished. You're severely under feeding yourself on a regular basis, and this shit is going to catch up on you when you get older. You might get away with it when you're younger, but you won't get away with it when you're older. When you start getting past 30s and you're going into those menopause years, trust me, you're not gonna you won't be getting away with it anymore.
You're still eating the inflammatory foods in moderation. That's not helping you because
and then they'll argue with you. Well, it worked for me in the past. Yeah, it worked for you in the past because you were young. You had youth on your side. It doesn't work that way when you get older. Trust me. You know what I mean? When I look at the food that I used to eat in my 20s, I used to get away with it. There's no way I'd be able to get away with it now.
No.
I thought I'd probably have a heart attack if I had it now. Because I used to do these 10,000 calorie challenges you see on YouTube. I used to do one of them once a month. Like I used to consume a lot of food, like a lot of junk food, and it's like there's no way in hell would I do that now.
I'm still waiting for my heart attack that the doctors.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so I want to go back about 15 years ago. When you switch jobs, you switch insurances, and then you have to get a new doctor. It's just like a whole thing. And so I got this highly rated endocrinologist, and I was so excited to talk to him. And so I went in his office and said, I've been taking Armour for years, and that's what I'd like you to refill my prescription with, to. And he says, oh God, he goes, I don't prescribe that. And I said, why? And he goes, because you can have a heart attack.
Oh no.
I'm still waiting for my heart attack. Okay. Because how in the world? He said, no, I only prescribe levothyroxine. I will not prescribe any of the natural thyroid supplements because you can have a heart attack. What? And this guy was like a star-rated doctor. I'm going, what?
Do you know what I have my females doing when they're dealing with thyroids? Iodine. That's all I have them taking. It's just a small drop of iodine in water, a little bit of salt added to it, or maybe a little bit of lemon juice or something like that, or some apple cider vinegar, just give it a little bit of taste. And all of a sudden, within days, within weeks, fixes the problem just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that overnight. And that's alongside the diet and their lifestyle. They're focusing on everything else. Everything just improves rapidly. And it's like, why don't doctors not understand this? Seriously, it makes me so angry that these are meant to be the experts. These are meant to be the people that had the PhDs. They've done all these years studying this, but they still don't understand that we have a massive health crisis at the moment. We have a massive obesity crisis at the moment. These people will keep on telling us how amazing they are, but not one of them can solve the problem.
No, they're not delivering the results that they promise. And
isn't that scary though?
They're brainwashed by big pharma into thinking that levothyroxine is better than Armour. Well, Armour is a natural product. It's more readily absorbed. It's not the same, and it's not a synthetic chemical. And there's not, I think any backup to levothyroxine being safer is all subsidized, sponsored studies from pharmaceutical companies.
Right. And my medication Armour costs $200. And it's not covered.
No.
Was that a month, Krista, or a weekly?
No. It's a 90-day supply.
Wow.
$100, so, but not covered. It's very, very telling.
Right. Yeah. It's covered because it's natural. They say it's a vitamin.
Yeah. That's just awful. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's just crazy. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No. So going back to that doctor that I saw, he yelled at me because I told him, I said, I'm going to walk out of this office. I'm never coming back. I said, I thought I was coming here to a 5-star rated, endocrinologist. And obviously, I'm going to give you a 1-star review, probably the only one you have on your page. And you can read that for the rest of your career.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what he did? He took his pen. This is back when they wrote it on a piece of paper. And he threw it at me. He goes, I said,
did he write you a script for Armor in anger?
Threw it at me. Yeah.
Oh, for crying out loud. The ego, it's ridiculous. It's frightening.
It's amazing how you can't even have these conversations with these, because I can only imagine with what I know now, and I went to see my doctor tomorrow, and he had a look at my cholesterol numbers. I can guarantee it would scare him big time, and he would be doing whatever it takes to try and get me on a statin, and I would be able to educate him all the way through this. I know I'd be able to literally, no matter what he could tell me all these amazing qualifications that he has, and I'd still be able to educate him on this. I'd literally run rings around him on cholesterol. I'd tell him everything that he needs to know. And it's honestly, I would, because I had this conversation. I said this many, many times on these podcasts. I remember when my partner's parents were going through an awful lot of pain when they were going through cancer. And I spoke to the doctor. I only asked him a simple question, Krista. I said, "Do you know what cholesterol is?" That's all I asked, because they were going through an awful lot of pain, and I couldn't. Every time I went to see them in the hospital, it was killing me, absolutely killing me, because I could see the food they were being fed, and they were being fed out of a drip. They were being fed out of a straw, because they couldn't even break down the food. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But anyway, I spoke to the doctor and I said, "Listen, do you know what cholesterol is?" When he said to me, "There's good and bad cholesterol," that's when I knew I'm never going to see these people ever again.
No.
I knew. I said, I walked out, and I just walked out with disgust. And I had to go for a long walk, because I knew my partner, she was going through an awful lot of pain, because obviously it was her parents who were dying. And I had to go for a long walk, because I was powerless in that situation. I was like, how is it that I know all this information, but I just cannot save these people?
Well, I think they do know it. And I've been through, in the last 10 years of Keto and Carnivore, 11 years, I've had 4 or 5 doctors, and all of them, I had to explain to them the triglyceride to HDL ratio and how that represented your metabolic health, and also the NMR lipoprotein profile. They know about it. They learned about it in school. They can order those tests, but they ignore it because Big Pharma keeps telling them statins, and cholesterol. They ignore it, and it just is so defeating to hear that nonsense.
It's because at the end of the day, if we cure a person, this is where they lose out on money big time. That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
I'm so happy
that some of these people know how powerful this diet is, but they still won't mention it to their patients. It's just
proof is in the pudding. The proof is in.
It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. I mean, you look back at what happened like a couple of years ago, the Big C. I mean, this was the biggest scam in history, and we all fell for it. Every single one of us fell for it. And when you look back at that time, you weren't even allowed to visit your loved one in hospital. I mean, just think about that for a second.
They were working from ignorance, which is another issue. But
it's incredible how we allowed that to happen, isn't it? It's incredible how people were not able to see their loved ones.
It will happen, and it can happen, and it may happen again, because they don't know, and so their idea is quarantine. Just get everybody out of there.
Well, that's what I'm worried about, Victoria, because when you look at what's going on in the world at the moment, they're trying to make meat expensive. They're trying to push it away. They're blaming the cows, and they're trying to bring in now vegan food. And the thing is, like, we're going up against some serious people, like, who have serious amount of money, and this is what you're going up against. And this is what I'm worried about. I'm really, really worried about that. If they were able to control us a couple of years ago, surely in the background, they're thinking about doing it again. And this is what I'm worried about. If they take this away from us, we're in deep shit. I'm going
Yeah.
into the mountains, and if I have to kill my own animals, I'll be doing it. I couldn't give a shit.
Well,
I don't care
I think
about
that
upsets the vegans. I couldn't care less.
there'll be tremendous pushback if that happens again. But I'm so happy, Krista, for you that you are better now under
Yeah.
Mark's tutelage and certainly in following the carnivore diet. Can you tell us some more about that?
Uh, with work Mark on the carnivore, yeah.
Working
So
with Mark. Mhm.
with my limited budget, it's been a little tough because I'm not working the full hours that I should be. I've been, not been able to buy a steak and things like that. Steak here is really expensive. I think just for one like ribeye, it's like $20. So it'd be like $20 for one
Yeah.
meal. And
Mhm.
so I can't do that. But I've been, talking to Mark, and I've just been doing like ground beef, and it's been fine. I will throw in some bacon if I want to be, if I want to treat myself to something kind of
Mhm.
a little bacon. But it's mostly egg, and the beef. And I try to do the beef different ways, like, because I'm a texture person. I like different textures. So I can do my eggs different ways too. I could do hard boiled or scrambled, and that'll give me a different texture, and almost a different taste. Part of my food addiction was, um, in my brain, I need different textures to be satisfied. So I have to cook things different in different ways and eat it differently in order for me to be satisfied. I can't eat the same thing every day, or else I start to crave the old
Mm.
I liked before. So, I do I also incorporate some pork loins once in a while just to like mix things up. But now I've incorporated a little bit of chicken. I remember, Mark, you said chicken a couple of days a week. Like replace one meal with a chicken item. So I've been doing that, and yeah, I mean, I feel so good. Like I feel like, I because I said my whole 30s were ruined by bad health, right? So I don't even know. I can't even say like, oh, I feel like I was in my 30s. I can't say that because I didn't have a good decade of my 30s. So I'll just say 20s because I felt good back then, even though I was eating McDonald's, but I still felt great. And I feel the same. Like I can do a squat all the way down to the ground and my knees don't pop. They don't hurt.
Wow.
Look at me and they're like, look at her getting down, because at my job we have all this stuff on the ground level that I have to pick up, and I'm doing all these crazy like squats where my knees would have been dying before, and now I can do it and I don't feel anything and I
Mm.
can get back up.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well.
Good.
When you look at the conversation that we've had in the last couple of days, Victoria, yourself, myself, we've always spoken about that people in the world are going on about, well, you can't deprive people because they're struggling financially. Well, here's a perfect example right in front of you. Chris is in the same situation, and it's like there's no excuse, in my opinion. You can always make it affordable. You don't need to go down the ribeye route, tenderloin. We all know how expensive this is,
Yeah.
but that's not an
Yeah.
excuse to eat crap. You can
Yes.
still live a
Mhm.
healthy lifestyle on carnivore by choosing the right
Yeah.
foods: eggs, ground beef,
Mhm.
sardines, chicken, pork,
Mhm.
bacon,
Yeah.
pork loins. All of this is cheap, guys, extremely cheap. I done it
Mhm.
myself. I only did this a couple of weeks ago. I was only spending 70 quid a week on
Mhm.
food. I gave myself a challenge because everybody kept on telling me that this is the reason why carnivore is not sustainable, because you're buying ribeyes and tenderloins. And I was like, okay, well, because I was spending about 160 quid a week on food because I'm in a fortunate position to do that. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna experiment on myself. I'm just gonna strip it all back, and I'm just gonna spend 70 quid a week. I'm just gonna think that I'm living poor, and I'm gonna live on 70 quid's worth of food for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I was perfectly fine. I was still able to eat 2 meals a day. I was never hungry. I was still maintaining my shape. I was still very, very healthy, and I felt incredibly good. Whereas
Well,
most
there's no
people
reason
are eating
not to
crap.
do that.
Sorry?
You should do that. It's the best kept secret of carnivore is ground beef, minced.
Yeah.
It's the best
Yeah.
kept secret. And I think it's even better for you because you can, in the States, you can buy it at different fat levels. And
Yeah.
I always go for the 2773, which is actually like 30-70%.
Yeah.
It's the best kept secret. And it's probably better for you than ribeye because you're getting more fat and it's predictable fat.
100%. Because in my country, I don't know what's like in your country, but nobody buys the high fat
They don't.
ground beef in my country. Nobody
Yeah,
buys
they
it. Like
don't
so.
either.
So
It's
if I go
cheaper.
into the shop, I can get three packs of ground beef, like half a pound, for like €8. It's about $10. Three of them. Now that's 20% fat. If I want to buy just one half pound of beef on its own, a 5% or zero fat in it, I'm looking at €8 per pack. Per
Yeah.
pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's great for me because I'm able to go in and buy this. I'm like, okay, well, this is what you need. You need the fats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm looking at all these people buying all this food and they're overweight, they're unhealthy. And you look at what they're buying. They're going after the cheap shit, which is
Yes.
just, or sorry, not the cheap shit, the expensive stuff. And they think that this is
Well,
healthier. So they're getting rid of, they're saying, okay, well, I'm not going to eat the fat. I'll go after the lean sources because this is going to make me even healthier. This is going to help me lose weight. You know what I mean? So that's where we're going. It's like everybody's just focused on like weight loss. So when I go into the shop, if I see something that says low calorie on it, high fiber, that's going to be healthier for me. You know what I mean? But just go to the meat alley. That's all you need to do. Just buy yourself ground beef, a couple of eggs, sardines, some bacon, and just stick to that. Be consistent on it. Do it for a while, and you will see very, very quickly that you are not missing out on nothing at
Yeah,
all.
that's good.
And you're gonna be
And it's very
thriving,
true.
and
Very
it's gonna be
true.
very, very
Krista,
affordable as well.
I was going to mention I was referred to a food bank because of my financial situation, but to go because I've been to the food bank. All they give you is rice and beans and leftovers, and that's it. They don't give you anything else. They give you milk that's in a carton and it's not refrigerated. That's how bad it is. It's like the milk, and I'm like, what is this? And then they give you a big bottle of this big of vegetable oil.
Oh my
Oh
god.
no. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Oh, that's the last thing you need. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Krista, I know you have a social media presence. How can people find you to follow what you're up to lately?
Yes, I'm at diabetic _. You're going to figure out the spelling.
Spell that for us, please. Yeah.
It's let's see, DIAB.
Oh, diabetic. Like French.
It's
but diabetic. Yeah, diabetic. Yeah, it's like a French name. I'll send you on the Instagram. Yeah, I'll send you on our Instagram after this.
Good job. Okay, diabetic girl. And that's on Instagram. Anywhere else?
And it's diabetic girl no _ on Facebook. I just started the channel yesterday, and I'm posting my content there. I'm reaching a different audience, and people are laughing at it. So people are laughing at my content because
Really? Well, too bad. They'll have to learn. Just keep
Exactly.
at it. They'll get the
think that when I talked about the what's in Pepsi, what kind of fake sugar is in Pepsi, it's like a bleached sugar, and I'm like, bleached, like, what is this? And then the food coloring was even worse, and people are laughing at me. Like, they
Do you know what I think is the perfect platform for you, Krista? Because you like to talk a lot in your stories, which is amazing. I think the perfect platform for you is TikTok.
I don't like TikTok.
That's where I think you'll blow up on TikTok.
I know. I just don't like. If you look at the whole structure behind TikTok and who owns it and this and that, Why this? I don't believe in that. I don't.
Mhm.
It's causing so many people to become brainless, mindless.
Yes, a short attention span. It gets getting shorter and shorter.
Well, I got banned on it a few weeks ago. I was giving out content, and these people are getting back to me, giving me warnings and strikes all the time. And then I eventually got a third strike, and they just said, "Listen, we're getting you off." So I said, "Right, I don't need the hassle." But the one thing I'm grateful for now is I don't get as much hate on Instagram. Like I used to get a lot of hate on TikTok, and especially from the vegans. And it wasn't just hate; it was like threats, like ending my life, trying to kill me, all this nonsense. It was unbelievable. And I would wake up to about maybe around 3 or 4 messages a week having death threats on TikTok. So I'm since I've come off it, I don't miss it at all.
I can't do TikTok. I mean, I tried, and I said, you know what, this is not what I believe in, and China developed it to basically brainwash people into thinking this is what you need to know. This is the, you only get to see certain news. They control the whole thing.
Mm.
I feel like it's happening here. I feel like we're only seeing what this millionaire sponsors are buying ads, and it's for Ozempic, Monjaro. All those ad sponsors are funding these social media platforms, and that's why our content is being like repressed from the system, because they don't want their sponsors to get upset saying, oh, there's all this anti GLP-1 content, we're not going to sponsor any ads anymore. That's why our content is going off into space and no one's looking at it. I used to work for the media. I used to work with these $1 million sponsors, and of course we're not going to say anything bad about so-and-so big box store because they're paying us millions of dollars. So we're going to delete all the bad negative comments about that brand because we cannot let the sponsor see that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
I feel like we need to create our own social media network for people like us.
Well, that's the reason why we do these podcasts and have people like yourself on, so people can actually hear it. But the problem we have is it doesn't reach the people that we would hope, because the algorithm is against us, unfortunately. But hopefully that will change, because it's very, very frustrating that when we hear your story, and we hear other people's stories, and you look at Dave Mack has over 1,800 incredible testimonials, and he should be like, this should be going worldwide. Millions of people should be listening to this.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get anywhere near the views that he should be getting.
I think it is. Well, we know it is. And the famous author who wrote I just totally blanked out on her. Who is that woman that is a journalist? Nina.
Oh, Tyshell, yeah.
Yes, years ago, at least 5 years ago, she did research on how this kind of information, and then it was on the keto diet. She was looking at how it's suppressed, because she discovered that the big pharma companies actually put out anti-keto information to scare you away from doing that, because it's definitely going to cut down on their business.
Right.
Well, as I mentioned that to you, Chris, at the very, very beginning, every time someone comes to me and has questions about the GLP-1, I always point them towards your podcast. Always. I said, before you come on board with me, you've got to listen to this podcast first. Because that podcast opened my eyes big time.
Yeah. Here's another thing I'm learning about it, GLP-1. If you do have an injury because of the drug, getting help from a lawyer is impossible. Now,
yeah,
people ask me why I'm not a millionaire because of what happened to me. And I said, because no lawyer will work with me, because you can't sue doctors. You can't, unless you die, you can't sue the doctor. I haven't heard a word from the California State Medical Board about the doctor that injured me on GLP-1. I haven't heard one thing. It's been 3 years.
Disgusting.
Really? Oh,
sickening.
And I put my feelers out there. I talked to a lot of lawyers, injury lawyers. I talked to, my mom has a lawyer for her injury. He wouldn't work with me. He said, I'm so sorry. We don't work with cases like this. And I just was like, okay. So another thing people have to think about, if you get injured on this drug, you're on your own.
Yeah.
That woman that I talked with on my podcast about a couple months ago, she had temporary blindness. She had a stroke while on GLP-1.
Oh God.
Get a lawyer to talk to her. It's just, you're taking a huge, huge risk taking that medication, and I don't think it's worth it. I mean,
No.
I didn't get 1 cent out of that whole thing. Nothing.
It's terrible.
So honestly, that story will live with me for the rest of my life. And to this day, 3 years later, you didn't get any help. It's just, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all, but it's incredible that we're on our own. And if something does happen, which I'm pretty sure it will, because you're not going to be the only one, Krista. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in the world that are going through this. They're going to be on their own and they're going to be given no help. And I just find that absolutely disgraceful. Disgraceful. That we have no one to look up, we have no one to go to, because at the end of the day, if I was to go out and kill someone now tomorrow, I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
I'd be in jail now. Right. And now they're doing all this. Everybody's taking these injections. Nobody has a clue the repercussions. But if it happens, don't blame us. It has nothing to do with us. It's just. Honestly, these things just make me so angry. This is why myself and the lads. I don't know if you know this, Krista, but we're setting up our own carnivore islands in our own country now, and this was the main reason why we wanted to set it up, because we're just sick of this. We're just sick of this fucking nonsense. It's just, pardon my language, but it just drives me crazy that a lot of people are struggling and they're not being given the answers that they need. And I just think this is so wrong. And this is why I come across aggressive on my videos. But if you met me in person, Victoria's met me in person, I'm not this person.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
When you meet me on social media, when you see my videos, I'm passionate about this. I don't want to see anybody like yourself go through this shit ever again.
I don't want to go through it.
You know what I mean?
I try to help, and they get really mad. I say, look, I was severely injured on GLP-1. They go, so what? I lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
So what? My heart stopped 4 times. So what?
Yeah. So what? Yes, that's terrible.
So what? That kind of attitude just makes you sick, doesn't it?
Makes me really sick that people think this is some sort of miracle. And that's, if you ask every generation what their big weight loss product was, we have cigarettes in my mom's era. That lasted up until probably the 90s, early 2000s. And then, cigarettes are bad. We're going to come out with ephedra now. And it was just like era.
One thing after another.
When I was a kid, it was amphetamines, and we took those for fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Means now it's GLP-1. Every
generation,
every generation has that miracle thing, but how many people had died on that thing?
Yeah, that's what it'll take. And now the medical industry has directed GLP-1s towards metabolic illness. If you're type 2 diabetic, if you have heart disease or arterial disease, they're starting to look into that and recommending that. I've seen that there are studies on that now, because it does what the carnivore diet does, but the side effects are just not worth it. Absolutely
no. Well, we'll wrap it up, Krista, but we're going to leave the final message to you. What would be the one piece of advice you would give to people listen to this podcast? What would be the one bit of advice that you'd hope they take away from it?
My advice, and I always say this, give it 2 weeks. You will change so much in the 2 weeks time that you won't even recognize yourself anymore. You're already going to feel no pain in your joints. Your diabetes, your sugar numbers are going to go down, and you're going to say, why didn't I hear about this sooner? Just
Yeah.
give 3 weeks. That's all we ask. And then you'll be back asking, okay, I'm ready for more. Because in that 2 weeks time, when that doctor broke up with me and said, we don't need to talk anymore because you don't need insulin, you don't need my help, that only took 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was free.
That's fantastic.
So, I mean, of course, it's going to vary. If your blood sugar is in the 400s, 500s, yeah, it's going to take you longer to come down. But mine was in the 200, upper 200s, almost 300. It only took 2 weeks. That's it. That's like nothing.
Wow. That's amazing.
2 weeks out of your life is nothing, isn't it?
What?
Yeah.
2 weeks out of your life is absolutely nothing.
14 days.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
the most
wonderful.
important thing is as well, you've got to look at your reason why. Forget about weight loss. We all know we can lose weight. Look at your reason why. We heard Krista's, Victoria has her story, I have my story. We all know where we're going to stick to this diet for the rest of our lives because we know how painful it is to go back to our old way of eating. And I think that's the most important thing is just look for that reason why and stick to it. And if you stick to that, more than likely you'll do this for the rest of your life. I'm 100% convinced.
You'll feel so good that you won't even look back. Even if you lose 10 pounds, you feel like you've lost 50.
Exactly.
Eat. I can't even explain it. You have to actually do it. But I feel like I've lost a lot more than 10 pounds.
Exactly.
You lost it the right way too. Retain your muscle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely. Well, Krista,
so
it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's nice to see you again. Yeah, it's amazing. So you were saying earlier on your Instagram that you're going to do more podcasts going forward.
Yes.
You don't do many. So hopefully we'll see you on more podcasts in the future because we need to hear people like yourself. So yeah, I'll be keeping my eyes peeled to see if I can see you on another podcast in the future.
See me. I'm just going to randomly go on live.
Good. Bite the bullet and just go on. Just do them because like we need people like you. We need to hear your stories. Don't be hiding in the background. We need to hear them because this is how we're going to help people. By listening to people like you.
I am not hiding. I would love to be able to do something in my community, but I'm afraid of the backlash because a lot of people in my community are vegetarian. And if you look around, there's big tummies on those vegetarian people. So I don't think it'll go over well, but I would love to get people moving, like at least some sort of like free activity come out.
But you see, the thing is, Krista, if you don't do it, they win. You know what I mean? That they win. So it's like you have to. If you've got a platform, which you do, and you speak very, very well, you just got to say, like, you know what? I don't care about what these people are, who these people are. I'm gonna do it. If I firmly believe in what I do, well, then share it to the world. You know what I mean? Just share it to the world. Who cares about what these people are? Because I'm telling you now, like I said, if you don't do it, these people have won. And I'm not allowing that anymore.
Yeah. A lot of people who's religious, they have religious purposes for not eating meat. So it's going to be very hard.
We won't mention the Adventists, so yeah.
Yeah. So I understand that, but somebody came to me, Mark, I wanted to ask real quick, your last thought. Somebody told me that they're allergic to meat. Now, how in the world could that be possible?
Well,
depends on how long. It depends on how long they're doing it for. Like I'd have to ask them a few questions, and like it depends on what kind of meats they're eating as well. So, like the first question I would ask is, because a lot of people are dealing with like histamine issues, and I usually say, well, it's the meat that's the problem. You're probably eating beef. You probably need to change it to lamb. You probably need to add in some seafood a couple of days a week. So I'd have to ask the person questions. There's always a solution, always. You can always figure out a
Yes.
solution.
They
Yeah.
said
It's not like meat's the problem. It's like
Yeah.
you're the problem. You just need to figure out what's right for you.
Yeah, they said they get indigestion from eating fatty meat.
Well, I'm dealing with that now at the moment with someone who's going through. He's taking a lot of benzos at the moment. A lot of benzos. He was going through the same thing. What's his name? Jordan Peterson went through.
The
He was on a lot of
Withdrawal.
benzos for and he was saying that when he went on the carnivore, he was having a lot of withdrawal symptoms, and that the high fat was actually messing with his gut. I'm actually dealing with someone with this at the moment, and from what I've been hearing, he's on the right track, because I made sure he was going to be on the right track, because I knew at the very, very beginning, okay, he's going to deal with a histamine issue. I want to have him on a variety of meats, not just one meat source. So he's eating beef, lamb, salmon, sardines, pork, everything pretty much. But it's a meat-based diet, and I eliminated everything from his diet: plants, seeds, oils, all that. So he's not having any external fats in his diet. So he's not adding any fat into his diet. He's just eating the fat that's on the animal. That's it.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And now he's thriving. And I'm convinced eventually, the more he keeps on doing this, his body will heal, and he'll be able to go back to his doctor. Because I will never say this to anybody. I will never say to someone that you need to go to your doctor and come off the medication. That's always going to be your choice. I'll give you the tools. I'll give you the nutrition. But when your body feels ready to come off the medication, that's your choice alone. You need to speak to your doctor, and you need to say, well, I don't think I need this medication anymore. And if he forces it onto you, you need to run out of his office, because he doesn't give a shit about you. Because at the end of the day, if you feel great, why would you even go and see the doctor in the first place? This is what drives me crazy about these carnivores that are going back to carbohydrates. They're basing everything on blood work. But I can tell you right now, why I feel incredible. I feel absolutely amazing. Now, there might be one or two things on my blood work now that a doctor might be concerned about, but I'm not concerned about it. So if it's not concerning me, then what's the problem?
There's no
You know
problem.
what I mean? There's no problem. As I said, I wake up every day. I feel great. I have so much energy. You know what I mean? I'm not struggling now to lose weight. I'm walking around with a six-pack. I'm about 10% body fat at the moment. I'm eating a lot of food. I'm happy. I don't have any more mental health issues. I'm no longer depressed. My life is just great. And I wish I knew about this 30 years ago, because it would have saved me a lot of pain.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of pain. And I want to spread this with people. I just want to say, listen, guys, like, look at me. Look at all us three. We're living this. We're living this amazing lifestyle, and you can as well, because we're not trying to sell this to you. We're just saying to you, just try it. Like what Krista said, do it for 2 weeks.
We don't make
2
money
weeks
off of this. That's for sure.
2 weeks, and you will see massive, massive changes. And if you do see these massive changes, what can these people say to you? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Simple as that.
Yeah. I love you guys for letting me have this time with you today. This is amazing. A great way to kick off the 4th of July.
Well, thank you.
And what we'll do is we'll make a few reels, and I'll tag you in a few of them. And once the recording's set up, I'll actually send you on the full recording as well, and you can put it in your Facebook, or you can put it in your Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Hey, great. I can't wait to share this with them.
Thanks very much for coming on, Chris. It's been a pleasure meeting you again, and I'll be in touch with you very, very soon as well.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.